Alright. Let's make our way. So traveling across Hyrule for Field now. Actually, kind of. There's a comic that some artist did of how when we first step out into Hyrule Field as a child, we take a look around and are just like, it's so expansive and massive. And then they do a side-by-side with when we first step outside in Breath of the Wild. And we're just like, oh, holy shit. Alright, let's wake this dude up. I don't know how he got out here, but normally only a nice guy like me can tame me, which means you must be a nice guy. Okay, so I don't know if like his nice guy thing is actually like the same as like the typical like, oh man, I'm such a nice guy that like people usually think. But if you have to call yourself a nice guy, chances are you're actually not really that nice of a person. And everything you do that you're like, oh, I'm such a nice guy, you have an ulterior motive. Like, you want something. Like, no one's just nice to be nice and is like, I'm such a nice guy. Nah, people who do nice things for the sake of being nice are just gonna be like, oh, that's so nice of you. Don't worry about it. But if you're like, oh, that's so nice of you to do, you're such a nice guy. If you're like, yes, I am a nice guy. You got one giant fucking ego. And there's something you want. Okay, so I don't think... So I think I don't know if the hook shot is gonna reach as far as we need it to. And there is a back door in the potion shop. Let's just actually. Alright, so yeah, let's try out the back door first. Okay. That was simple. Alright. Crazy old lady potion shop. Here we go. You must have something. Yeah, I have. What do you need? What do you need this for? What is it? What do you need this old magic mushroom for, old lady? Strongest medicine. Why does he need medicine? Potion will not work on a monster. We just have a powder. We just have a powder that we don't know what it does or what it's for, but let's just go back to the forest. Alright. So I mean, we're still in the... we're still in the relatively easy part of this whole trading game. Near the end of this, it becomes a lot more hey, I need to get to this spot in like this certain amount of time, and it is hectic. Also, yes, I'm sure some people that haven't done that have played the game but haven't done the trading sequence are gonna be like, oh, why don't you just like warp, like why are you doing this now? Why don't you wait until you have all of the warp songs and then just warp from place to place? And you can't do that, because the game actually, like, when they programmed in the trading sequence, I'm sure they actually thought, hey, people are going to just be like, oh, let me just warp around. That's going to be real easy. And it's just going to completely circumvent any sort of time limit. So they were like, if you warp, whatever you've got is just automatically spoiled. That's just what happens when you use warp magic. If you have something that's time sensitive, it's just destroyed, and you gotta do it over. Granted, I mean, let's be honest, the people who have done the trading sequence probably thought, oh, why don't I just warp, and found that out for themselves. So we have to run everything, and I mean, yeah, doing it later in the game, I mean, really, the later in the game that you do the trading sequence, the easier it is, because you've got more weapons, more resources. I mean, if you go for the sword, basically, like, at the very end of the game, when you've done all of the dungeons, the Gerudo Bridge is also fixed, and you don't need you won't need Epona. I mean, even if the bridge isn't fixed, you'll have the long shot, and you're good. But really, after becoming an adult, you can do the quest line. You can do the quest line at any point. It's just that before finishing the water temple, you need Epona to get across the bridge. There's no other way of doing it. Like, you might be able to use the regular hook shot to get across it, but then you still need the hook. You still need the hook shot. So really okay, so the easiest and best time to do it is at the end of the game, before you go fight Ganon. You have all the items, and you can just go from place to place. Having Epona helps, but if you do the backwards run, then you're still fine. Like you'll be cutting things kind of close, but you're still basically fine. But you can do it. I mean, we're doing it. So as soon as you become an adult, you have, as long as you've gotten Epona's song, you can do the quest line immediately. And that's what we're doing.